Good evening, everyone. I am Richa Sehra, founder and editor in chief Responsible Hospitals. And today I would like to welcome all of you on our Insta Live channel. As you know, that there was a big halt for last month that we couldn't do any session because you know that wave 2 was on a higher level. But then we have restarted again because all the doctors were very busy doing their duties and we thought that this is the right time to act again. So we promise you that we'll come up again and again with the right content which can be more informative, more helpful to all of you. So just be with us. So today's session is with Dr. Asa Dayal. She's a lead consultant with CK Birla. She's a gynecologist and obstetric consultant, and she will be talking with us that more about the vaccinations for expecting mothers. So people who are expecting nowadays, and I think they have a lot of questions, so I think this is the right platform wherein we will be discussing more deep into the subject. And let's start it ASAP. She'll be with us online in a minute. I'll just try to add it up. Good evening, Dr. Asta. How are you doing?
I'm good, Richa. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much. I hope you guys are good because I think every one of you were very, very busy, helping
Yeah,
the expecting mothers.
so far so good. And thanks for having me here. And hope everyone is keeping safe and staying indoors.
Yeah, everybody is safe. Thank you so much, doctor. And I would really like to thank from the team of Responsible Hospital because I think this wave 2 was quite dangerous and very, very, effective. I would say that it has impacted a lot of lives. And you guys were always there on the duty to help all expecting mothers. I think that is something which is really needs a lot of gratitude for you. So thank you so much for being for all of us.
Thank you for your kind words. But yeah, everybody has been doing their bit, all frontline workers. And also, you have been really instrumental in spreading knowledge and information about it. So that's a great thing that you're doing. So,
Thank you. So today's session, Dr. Asta, is more about the vaccinations and then what are the precautions and symptoms and solutions to the COVID-19 wave 2 for expecting mothers. So first of all, as we have been getting a lot of queries, that the first question will start with that: do you think that these expecting mothers should be vaccinated or they should wait for the delivery to happen?
So there is a lot of confusion going on regarding the vaccination in pregnancy. So I'll tell you what the facts are. The vaccines in US and UK are the mRNA vaccines that we talk about, and they have been tried in pregnant women eventually, and that is why they were considered safe and they are being given there. Now, in India, the vaccines that we have are Covishield and Covaxin. These are Covishield is a viral vector-driven vaccine, and Covaxin is an inactive virus vaccine. There are trials, but there are not enough trials on pregnant women on these vaccines. So, so the government was a little hesitant in giving them, in allowing us to give it in pregnant and breastfeeding women. But this wave, which happened last month, was very severe, and we really saw that the people who were vaccinated were safe from severe illness. So, keeping that in mind, COVID vaccine is a life-saving vaccine, and the gynecology societies have requested the government to allow these vaccines for pregnant and breastfeeding women in India also. Now, currently, the vaccine has been recently recommended in breastfeeding women, but in pregnancy, it is not yet allowed by the government of India. However, having said that, it's an inactive vaccine, and most inactive vaccines are safe in pregnancy. So, after the first trimester, we generally give the vaccines which are inactive, and aaj we've not had any complications because of vaccination. So, theoretically, they're safe. As soon as the government gives us the permission to give those to give the vaccines in pregnancy, we will be administering them as well.
Sure. And so I'm sure you would have faced a lot of challenges with expecting mothers who got through, COVID phase. So I would start with challenges first. That how did you tackle the situation when it came to a mother who was COVID positive, and they were about to deliver? So how was the situation and how were things going ahead? What kind of precautions
So,
you all took?
okay, so last year and this year itself, we have had patients who've had COVID. A good thing is that all over last year, some systematic reviews and studies have shown that pregnant women are not more vulnerable to catch COVID. So the number of women catching COVID is this, the pregnant women catching is the same as the general population. And the chances of hospitalization are also less than 10%, which is the same as general population. Only thing is that if a pregnant woman is hospitalized, she is more likely to end up in the ICU. That we've seen that the severity is a little more. Luckily, last year most of our cases were asymptomatic cases. There were hardly too many complications. But yeah, last one has been very difficult. I've seen pregnant women getting admitted, getting breathless on oxygen. So, but they are only a small number or a small percentage of women. Majority of the women will stay fine. They will stay asymptomatic, or they will have a mild illness. They will be managed by home isolation. Now, what happens if it happens somewhere in the middle of the pregnancy or in early pregnancy? The pregnant women are a little safer that way. But if you're nearing term or nearing labor, then there is a higher chance of going into preterm labor. Also, there is a 3 times higher chance of the child needing an ICU admission. So these things have been observed over studies. And if a pregnant woman was admitted with us in labor, so if you're asymptomatic, the care is mostly the same. Of course, all the precautions are taken. You are admitted in an isolation room. Everybody who's coming and seeing you is wearing a PPE kit. There are certain restrictions. You don't have attendants coming in. You will probably be staying alone in your labor, and your caregivers will also be limited. I mean, only one doctor will be coming and seeing you, or a particular designated staff will see you. So those precautions we have to take. But most of your pregnancy care, the pregnant women had a normal obstetric care as would otherwise be was given. And most hospitals now are equipped to manage COVID pregnancies. So we were taking care of them in the same way. And even if you were tested COVID positive, you could still have a normal delivery. So the only reason why we were doing a cesarean section was if it was indicated for obstetric reasons, or if the mother was so sick that she could not tolerate the labor, or if the delivery, if the term, the pregnancy was before term, or some other obstetric reasons for doing a cesarean. Otherwise, even a normal delivery we've conducted in COVID positive patients.
Sure. So, doctor, is there any, have you seen any studies wherein the mother was safe, she wasn't having COVID, and the baby which was born was COVID positive? Was there any case like that as well?
Not like that. I mean, like if the mother is negative, then the child generally will not catch it. The child. So overall, when we talk about vertical transmission, so a mother to child transmission can happen either of any disease, can happen through the placenta, it can happen through the body fluids when the baby is getting delivered, or it can happen at the time of breastfeeding. Now, COVID virus has, so this vertical transmission, last year we thought that there was no vertical transmission. But this year there has been some studies which have shown like a 5% risk of vertical transmission. But if the mother is positive, then of course it is more likely for the child to show some symptoms in very, very rare cases. Like I said, 5%. So in 95% cases, there will be no, the child will not catch it. But if the mother is negative, I personally have not seen. However, we still allow a person who's a mother who's COVID positive, she's still allowed to breastfeed because it is not going to transmit breastfeeding.
And let's suppose if the mother is COVID positive, and what is the instruction which is being given to the mothers? So the baby will be with the mother, or he has to be separated from the
Yeah,
mother?
so it depends. If the mother has a family member who's a caregiver and is COVID negative and can take care of the child, so then the child can be with that caregiver, and the mother can express her milk and give it to the caregiver, and the caregiver can take care of the child. If the mother wants to breastfeed herself, if she doesn't have anybody to support her that way, then she has to wear a double mask, and she has to follow strict rules of hand hygiene, which means she has to wash her hands, sanitize. because even if the breast milk is not transmitting, a close contact with the fetus can transmit the virus.
True.
Also, if they're in the same room, if she doesn't have a choice and has to keep the child in the same room, then the cot should be 6 feet away, and those social distancing norms and all should be followed. We have weighed the risks and benefits of breastfeeding and of separating the neonate from the mother. So overall, it is safe. The WHO says you can even room in at a 6 feet distance and keep wearing a mask and do direct breastfeeding also. So it's okay depending on your situation, but if you want, you can express and give it to somebody who's taking care of your child as well.
Sure. And what do you think about expecting mothers, because they have to go through a lot of, tests prior, and do you think it's the right time, because they also would want to avoid a lot of ultrasounds in between every month checkups? Is it okay? What have you recommended for them for regular
So
checkups?
last week, I think it was. Now we know that it is an aerosol-borne virus, so it's in the air. So we were really telling the patients not to just step out of the house. So in pregnancy, generally we have about 10 to 12 appointments with your doctor during those 9 months. We have reduced to those appointments to about 6 appointments, and that also we can do online in most cases. So whenever in early pregnancy, when the doctor does not need to examine you, you should schedule a online or a video consult. That's what we were offering our patients. But there are tests which are essential, which can be done by home collection. And there are some ultrasounds which cannot be missed, like your level 1 scan, level 2 scans, Dopplers and data parts. So generally, and some vaccinations also. So I generally we used to tell the patients to come only when really necessary, so they can actually time their ultrasound, their vaccinations, their visit to the doctor at the same time, and make sure that everything is done in one visit, and also make sure that you pre-book your appointment so that you don't have to wait for too long. And whenever you're going to the hospital, make sure you're following all the three level of the double mask, the social distancing, the hand hygiene. All these 3 points should be really carefully followed. Now, at least in Delhi and Gurgaon, the wave is going down. We've had lesser fresh cases, touch wood. So it is relatively safer to come out at least for your antenatal visits. Also, if a woman had COVID, then we were telling, and she was asymptomatic but on home isolation, still it was very important that she keeps checking her daily movements. She keeps her temperature record, her SpO2 record. I did notice that the water level or the growth of the baby in those after 2 weeks of COVID quarantine had shown a change. So we generally want an ultrasound after your quarantine is over to check for the baby's well-being as well. But at least if you're asymptomatic, if you're checking the baby movements, then you should complete your quarantine and then step out of the house.
Sure. And anything which you think they have, because it was a mental disturbance as well for all the expecting mothers, because it's a life's very important thing which is going to happen, and facing this situation was a tough job. Any changes you have seen in their growth? I would say the baby's growth, or
Um,
any thing which you would have changed, which
okay,
wasn't there prior.
so there are some things which are observations and there's some things which are evidence. If I talk about observations, and when we all gynecologists discuss, we've had patients who've had pregnancy losses, who've had growth restrictions, who've had water level being lesser, but these are not evidence based. These are not proven by systematic reviews. The studies which have been done over the world have only shown the increase of preterm labor and of ICU admission. They have not shown any particular increase in other things. So, but yes, of course, we have seen most of like getting depressed was far more that in the last year and this year as compared to other years. I mean, every other person was stressed, and there were reasons for it. There was some family member who was affected or severely affected. Then there was isolation. You couldn't go to your parents. You didn't have help at home. So it was quite traumatic for everybody, but generally our advice is to stay positive. Now, at least the peak of the wave has gone. We have to be careful, but we also have to be strong. And mental health is as important as physical health. You could practice some mindfulness, talk to your friends, listen to positive people, and try and get over it with some like your own the way you want to think positive, you can actually move ahead. Of course, doctors are here to help you, and we were always available on video consults and all. So yeah.
So right now the video consultancies which are happening, or they can visit directly also.
So yeah, they are visiting. In fact, other patients are not visiting as often. Pregnant women are the only ones who are visiting the hospital for their regular checks if they want an ultrasound or if they need an internal check or if they're coming because they're going into labor and all. So people are coming in when called by their doctor. And so mostly during the first 6 months when we don't really need to see you in for examination, we can manage online. But after that, in the seventh month onwards, a couple of visits at least are required.
Sure, sure. So, any guidelines which you have for these mothers who have to deliver now? Because the way, the cases are going a little down, that's a good sign. But anything which you would want to instruct them for, any guidelines?
Yeah, so although the cases are reducing, but we should not get complacent. It is still important to keep a very, very strong vigil. It's still important to keep to be very, very careful. Pregnant women otherwise were a little more careful. Luckily, they were not stepping out, but there will be some family member who's going out to work because now the lockdown is getting over. So make sure that whoever goes out to work, they are really strictly following all the social distancing norms. And if it is not possible, then you also socially distance yourself from those people inside the house. As doctors, like I was wearing a mask in my house all of last month because so anybody who's exposed needs to isolate themselves from the rest of the people, and especially so that you're not exposed basically. Now, besides that, if you're stepping out of your house, the moment you step out of your house, like in high rises, there are lifts and common areas which could also have those aerosols. So the moment you're stepping out of your door, your mask has to be on. It should not be when you're reaching your car that or you enter the hospital and then your mask should be on. It has to be on the moment you're out of your door. And it has to be a double mask and an N95 mask or a three-ply mask with a cloth mask. A separate cloth mask individually is not sufficient, and it should be covering your mouth and your nose. And I think some people have a habit of putting their mask down and then talking, so that should not be done.
True.
And of course, hand hygiene. You have to sanitize your surfaces. You have to keep your hands clean, but also don't touch your hands to your eyes and nose because that is also important. And then, of course, social distancing. I mean, staying away from people. So even if you're coming to the hospital, then make sure that you are coming at a time when the hospital is not very crowded. And in the last 2 weeks, if your husband is going to be there with you in labor, then make sure that your husband and you, both of you, are not stepping out of the house. You could work from home, but the last couple of weeks, you should not expose yourself to any possible infection. And for delivery, we are keeping attendance to a minimum, and we are admitting patients only with a COVID test so that we know who is positive and who's asymptomatic and negative. So you need to get your checks done whenever your doctor says that you're about to go into labor. So you should get your COVID testing done. A single attendant is what we allow for now, and that attendant stays with you for the entire 3 days of hospital stay. So exchanging of people is not allowed. So you could prepare yourself for that. And yeah, think positive, be positive. Everything's going to be fine. The worst is over, and hopefully we have better days now. So
Yeah,
people, yeah. So
absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you. So, since we have now, I would want to know that is your hospital is admitting the COVID patients as well?
so
I
our
mean,
own.
people who have not taken the packages with you, if they come directly in person, directly, let's suppose if they come directly in the month of 6th or 7th to deliver, do you
So
think they'll be
actually,
admitted?
we have booked patients and unbooked patients. So booked patients, if they were turning positive, then obviously it is our responsibility to take care of them. Unbooked patients, it really depends on the availability of beds, oxygen, and all, it was becoming very difficult last month for all hospitals.
Yeah,
Things have improved now, so on a case-to-case basis, it's a judgment call by the pulmonologist, the physician, the gynecologist, and then a decision is taken.
sure. And Dr. Asta, one more thing. Since these expecting mother, you have already given the guidelines on putting masks if they are going out and the safety measures. Anything about the eating habits, because everything is coming from outside, the fruits and the vegetables. Do you think that is also important to wash them if they need to be washed? Do they need to be washed with only water? A lot of basic questions are still
So,
not very clear.
yeah, so latest studies have shown that the spread of coronavirus is more of an aerosol spread, much more than a surface spread. So, if you're doing your regular washing of food and if it's cooked food, it's safe to have. Otherwise, there's no like people used to use chemicals to wash it and all that is not really required. Washing properly, like you wash all fruits and vegetables, is enough. However, you should not be exposed to the person who's come to deliver the vegetables and fruits. So that is important. That person-to-person transmission is what you should prevent. In terms of foods, you should increase your intake of antioxidants, which are all the colorful fruits and vegetables. And also because of the lockdown, everybody's been sitting home and gaining weight, which is not good. So you have to so you have to limit your sugar intake, you have to limit your carbohydrate, and in stress you eat more of sugar. So you have to limit that. Especially pregnant women should not have so much of a sugar intake. They should limit their carbs and have a high protein diet. And also they should exercise, which I think Abhi, you can't step out for a walk and all, but at least at home you can do some antenatal yoga and some exercise, some mindfulness. All those things are more important because if people who gain too much weight during pregnancy, it becomes difficult for them to deliver normally. So that is also, and plus it starts affecting their health also. And obesity itself is a high risk factor for a pregnancy. So all those things also have to be kept in mind.
True. Thank you so much, Dr. Ata. It was really, really informative. I think you have already answered all the points which we had, and probably we'll come up with another session with you sooner. Thank you
Sure.
so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Richa, for having me. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much.